Hi, my name is Sage. This is my dog Kopek. The two of us have spent a grand total of about a year living in this 2006 Honda Element, 8 months in 2017 and another 4 now. Today we're going to be doing a tour of the camper setup that I have in the Honda Element here. If you have not seen it already, I previously did a tour video of the camper setup here. I've since made some modifications, but it may be helpful for you to watch that video. I also have a video regarding the shelf setup that I have over on this side and the bench/bed setup that I have over on this side. If either of those 3 videos interest you, there will be a link to them in the description below. Today we're going to be focusing specifically on some of the modifications I've made since the last video. So let's get into it. So probably the biggest difference between my setup before, when I made the previous video, and my setup now is actually more of a difference in the way that I use my setup rather than a specific modification to anything structurally in here. So what I mean by that is when I built the setup, I built this to be a bench that turns into a bed. Now that I'm living in it full-time, I find that practically that's not really how it functions. It's more of a bed that can turn into a bench on the off chance that I need to sit in the back. So I probably actually only use this as a bench maybe once a week, if that. It's kind of like maybe a rainy day or inclement weather sort of situation, but typically I just leave this as a bed. So I'm going to do a quick demonstration of how it turns from a bench to a bed, and then after that probably just leave it as a bed because that's how I actually practically use it. So I removed the cushions here just to make it a little easier to see how the bed actually functions. So what we have is basically your standard kind of camper van slat bed. You've got the front piece here and the back piece here. The front piece is fixed into place, the back piece slides in and out. And so in bench mode, they're all slid together like that. And when I go to bed mode, this just pushes out. You have your backrest cushion and your seat cushion sitting right next to each other. They fit snugly into this space right here. So typically I have it here like this in bed mode 95% of the time. And so it remains like this. So what that looks like is a little more like this. And then this is actually not the full length of the bed. I have an additional leaf that extends up on the front side. It rests on my storage box, as well as a small platform that lands in the cup holder up there. And then the extended leaf works like this. I go and I push the front seat forward as far as it can go and pull out this little platform. It's a tiny little platform that I store back here. And there's a spot right in the cup holder that this base fits into perfectly, and it sits nice and snug. Put that right there. Take my extra platform here and just wedge it between the seat, the other cushions, and resting on top of this box here and the small platform that I just put in the cup holder over on this corner. So it ends up being really secure. Kopek usually sleeps down here at the foot of the bed, and never had any issues with stability or anything like that. It's a very basic, simple solution. No crazy mechanics, but it gets the job done. Okay, over to this side, please. So this is the bed fully extended. We've got the bench pulled out to bed mode, and we've got the leaf fully forward. During the day, I don't have the leaf necessarily folded up, but I do typically leave the bench out like this, so we have a platform all the way across. It's great because Kopek has a nice large area to lay during the day. The bed from here all the way to the foot there is about 6'5", so it's plenty of space for me being 5'11". Sometimes Kopek sits at my feet and I have to scrunch up a little bit, but typically it's more than enough space than the two of us need. So now I'm going to put it back to bench mode. I don't use it that way very often, as I mentioned, but I want to have it open here so that I can show you the three shelves here and kind of how I organize things. All right, so getting into the shelf here, we're just gonna kind of start at the back and work our way forward. And so You see here I've got a 2.5 gallon jug here, just like a standard one that you get at a grocery store. This is basically what Kopec and I live out of. I buy one of these every once in a while. I fill it up when I can and replace it when I need to. I also have a big 64-ounce vacuum insulated Stanley growler that I'll fill up when I go to the gym or at other times. But between those two things, that's basically the water that we use. I don't have anything larger than that to store water. I don't have any sort of gray water or anything like that for washing dishes. I'm mostly out in the forest, so I can just use some biodegradable camp soap, and I'm good to go. So that's my largest water jug. Up here I've got a couple hooks that hang my trash. They also hang my brush and dustpan. And then behind that I've got a cutting board. I don't find myself needing a cutting board all that often, so it's alright with me if it's kind of tucked back away here. In the back corner right through there, I have what are you barking at? In the back corner right in there, back in this corner back here, I have spare trash bags for hanging on the hooks there. I also kind of tuck my extra length of wire. I haven't gotten around to like cutting my solar panel wires down, so my extra length of wire is tucked back there. And as far as this sort of back face goes, that's about it. Let's move a little further back though. The way things are arranged in here isn't particularly pertinent if you're looking to like copy this setup. Your specific needs are gonna be different than what mine are, but I'm gonna just run through them pretty quick anyway. So I keep all my kitchen stuff right here. The reason for that is it's very accessible from the back. I don't have any really way to cook inside, so I have to take everything out the back anyway, so I keep that there. Just below that I have what I call Kopec's Corner. We've got this spill resistant water bowl. I say spill resistant because it often does spill. It's not spill proof. And then below I have leash, poop bags, anything else, lint roller, that kind of stuff, other Kopec related things. And on the bottom shelf here I kind of have some secondary like activity items or secondary hobby items. So I've got like my hiking boots for when I do like a real gnarly hike. I've got climbing shoes and climbing harness down here, and I've got sunscreen, which maybe shouldn't be secondary given my complexion, but that's a good place to keep it nonetheless. Then moving on over this way, this gets to the part where I can sit a little more comfortably. I typically do have to slouch, but that's kind of my default mode anyway. But up top here I keep all my dry food goods. I actually don't have cold storage. I don't find myself needing it all that often, especially as the colder temperatures approach. Like if I need anything to be cold, it pretty much stays cold enough in the car for most things that don't have like critical temperature requirements. So I've got food here. This also functions as a desk if I need it. Occasionally, like I said, I don't sit in bench mode very often, but occasionally I will set my laptop here and do some work on my laptop from there. So just below that, I've got sort of my electronics and power bank shelf here. It's kind of the designated electronics space. So in a tub here, I've got things that are related to charging and backing up files. So like batteries, battery chargers, all that kind of stuff. And then this right here is my Yeti 1000. It's made by Goal Zero. It's awesome. I so far really love it. I'm still kind of fairly new to it, but I'm really loving it. It's really providing for all of my power needs. This cord here runs up top to a 160 watt Renogy solar panel, and that's all I have for my setup. I've got the Goal Zero and the Renogy and just the cords to connect to them, and it works wonders for my purposes. So the things that I really need to charge are like my phone. I charge every night. You know, I charge my camera batteries a couple times a week. Every once in a while I'll charge my laptop. I charge my flashlights, that kind of thing. Drone occasionally, So I don't have a huge power need necessarily, but this thing has been a beast. It's not even come close to running thin. In fact, I have a video about me testing this out, and I had run it down for about 3 weeks and only gotten to 50%, and it took just about a day to charge back up from 50%. So it's awesome. I love it. I will probably fine-tune how I use it as I get a little more experience with it, but it's been really awesome for me. Down on bottom, I have socks and underwear. We're kind of getting into the clothes side of things. So underwear here, socks here. The great thing about these two here is that they are accessible from my shelf outside, which the rest of my clothes are as well. So I will kind of give you a demonstration of that now. So what I was referring to on the inside there is my socks and underwear right here. So I've got my socks in this little bin right here, and if I reach just a little bit further back, easily accessible. I've also got my underwear drawer. So it's really nice to have access to both those things from the inside and the outside. Because I have it in bed mode, typically I can't actually access it from the inside unless I reach down in this little hole that I have here, but I can access it from the back as well. So while we're over here, I'll show you my other couple shelves that are kind of hard to see from the back angle there. But pants and shorts go on this shelf here, and shirts and, well, yeah, just shirts go on this shelf here. It's really nice being able to access these things from the outside. A lot of times I'll be running into the gym and I'll be able to grab a pair of clean clothes. I'll get pants, shirts, socks, and underwear all from the outside here that I can stuff into my gym bag to use after my workout and shower. So I also, another notable difference from my previous setup is that I added a hanger bar here. I just used some steel pipe and a flange, and it attaches to the shelf here. It's super stable. You can kind of shift the angle here. I keep my dirty clothes down underneath all that here, but so on the hanger bar I've got a couple button-up shirts, a couple jackets, sweatshirt. I don't have a lot of like hanging needs. It's not a lot of space, but I don't have a lot of needs, so it works out pretty well for me. So let's talk about a few other features here. Depending on if you've seen my previous tour video or the shelf or bed video before, you may or may not have noticed that everything kind of got a paint job. We've got the shelf here painted, the bench here painted, and my like extra box and platform up there also painted. I was having an issue where some of the pieces of wood got wet from some water leaking from my old water jug, and they were just looking kind of beat up and stuff. I had to sand them all out. Figured I'd just slap a coat of paint on it and cover kind of a lot of the inconsistencies, and it's really actually working out pretty well. I still have like most of the bucket of paint, so anytime I need to do touch-ups I can just come in with a brush and cover it up. So basically the new things about it are just kind of my approach to the bed and the bench, the hanger bar up there, the electrical setup that I have back here, and then the paint job, the fresh coat of paint that I put on all of this. I should mention that when I put it into bed mode, everything underneath the bed kind of becomes miscellaneous storage. So I put like my hiking backpack and my gym bag over here, and then I put my laptop bag and Copex dog food over on this side underneath the platforms. So it doesn't always look this pristine and clean. Living in a small space, you kind of just gotta be willing to shift things around and change things up. I find myself every week kind of coming up with a new way to store things. I've got this gear net up here that I put to store my window shades, and it like totally does not work. It doesn't work at all. So I'm like always kind of formulating new ideas about how to do things. So everything is kind of forming, morphing. It's a work in progress. Nothing is set in stone. But that's kind of the way that living in a car is in general. Helps you to learn to be flexible and helps you to think on your toes and be creative. Yeah, so that's about it for the updated Honda Element Tour. Not any huge major differences, like nothing structurally different in here, but some differences in the way that I approach things and a few modifications here and there. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section down below. I'm typically pretty good at responding to the comments in a timely fashion, so yeah, I'd love to have a conversation there. Alternatively, you could contact me on Instagram. @SageTraveling is my Instagram name. I also, if you want to follow along a little more closely with what's going on with my life, that's where I kind of update the most frequently. I can only post videos here every once in a while because it takes a little more to get a video ready than it does a single photo. Yeah, so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, would love it if you liked it, and if you want to see more stuff like this, or more about me hiking, or more of Kopec, then come here. Then subscribe, and I'm trying to put out videos a little more often, so hopefully I will see you guys soon.